Got tired of doing the whole good guy thing.
What's up, Doc?
Welcome back, Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Airy, and let's talk about the ending of Morbius.
Oh, I sure am excited about Morbius. I hear it's got all these connections to Spider-Man, and it's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, don't be excited, because Spider-Man's not in it, and it is not in the MCU.
But the trailer showed Spider-Man, and I saw the Vulture.
Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch.
I know, buddy, and they want you to think the movie's in the MCU, or at least MCU adjacent. But this movie is not in the MCU. Despite the marketing and the really stupid ending, this movie is nowhere near the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, Night at the Museum is more part of the MCU, because at least the tablet that brings everyone to life is powered by Khonshu, the Egyptian god in Moon Knight.
So then why were they teasing Spider-Man in it?
Well, Doug, Sony was working really hard to trick fans into watching this really bad movie, and then they're trying to force feed us a Sinister Six movie because of money. But look, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the Spider-Man Easter eggs that are in Morbius, why they're not part of the MCU, and then I'll try to explain that truly baffling, condescending ending. Just in case you're not up on all this. The film rights to Spider-Man are owned by Sony Pictures. So, for Spider-Man to appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Sony had to make a deal to share the character with Marvel Studios, which is owned by Disney. Marvel made the Tom Holland Spider-Man films for Sony, which is why they fit in so seamlessly with the rest of the MCU. Now, this also allowed Sony characters like Venom, Toby, Andrew, and all those villains to appear in No Way Home. It's very fun. Marvel's in control. Hooray! But Morbius was not made by Marvel Studios. This was created by Sony Pictures. And Sony Pictures wants to have their own interconnected universe of Spider-Man related characters. They want their own Avengers so they can make Avengers money. Whereas the MCU made the Avengers work by putting characters and story first. Where Sony is putting money ahead of everything else. They ruined The Amazing Spider-Man 2 by cramming in too many villains to seed a Sinister Six film in the Andrew universe. And now they're doing it all again.
Not again.
So here's the ending. After Morbius's boring origin story is over and Matt Smith is defeated, a rift opens in the sky, like we saw in No Way Home. And then Adrian Toomes appears in Morbius's old jail cell, and he's just like, this is weird.
Yeah, I didn't get that. The rift in No Way Home brought people into the MCU, not the other way around. It makes no sense.
Yes, Doug, it makes no sense.
You're not going to explain it or anything?
I can't explain it. It completely violates the rules of all these movies. The film is pretty clear.
It started pulling in everyone who knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man from every universe into this one.
And then No Way Home ends with the Sony characters all going back into their original universe. Now, maybe they'll change this and say that like Toomes was from this universe originally and someone brought him over as a baby, like in Fringe or something. But even Adrian acknowledges that this makes no sense. So, because Adrian does not exist in this universe and has committed no crime, they let him go. And all of this is told to us through a very hasty news anchor's narration. There is a second post-credits scene where Morbius has driven a car into the middle of nowhere. Toomes shows up in his full Vulture gear.
But wait, all that gear was built from alien tech left over in the Avengers from the MCU. How'd he rebuild it all?
Well, because it says so in the script. So, Toomes shows up and he's like, oh geez, I don't know how I got here. Maybe it has something to do with Spider-Man. And then he says to Morbius, do you want to team up? Now, it isn't clear if he's saying let's team up and go after Spider-Man. Maybe, benefit of the doubt, maybe Toomes just wants his own super team because in his universe, he had to deal with the Avengers being a thing that oppressed him or something.
Your superiors. Who the hell are they?
But it doesn't matter. So for some reason, Morbius is like, oh yeah, for sure, bro, let's film a team. So they can form this team, the Sinister Six, that no fan wants or asked for.
That all seems hasty and poorly thought out. Why? Just why?
Well, because, Doug, they added all this at the last minute. A few months ago, Michael Keaton confirmed that he had just filmed some Vulture scenes.
I'm shooting tomorrow. I'm shooting.
You shooting tomorrow?
Yeah, man.
What are you shooting tomorrow?
Some Vulture stuff.
Now remember these scenes from the trailer?
Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch. Got tired of doing the whole good guy thing.
What's up, Doc?
That was filmed a while ago, months ago. That was in the first trailer, way back in like 2019. That was probably when Sony was hoping that the movie would be in the MCU, like their Spider-Man movies. Now, that scene where Vulture's being put in a car and Morbius is being arrested would have fit really well earlier in the movie, when Morbius was being arrested. And also, if this movie was in the MCU, then it would make sense. But Vulture is not in the Sony universe, he's in the MCU. So here's what I think happened. I think that Sony had all these connections planned, and then someone at Disney actually saw the movie. And then Disney says, "This film is garbage! You cannot imply in any way that this movie takes place in a universe that is Disney intellectual property! We'll sue! So then Sony delays the release of the movie to hastily film this new post-credit scene because they needed it to set up their stupid Sinister Six movie. Now I think this because there were other hints that Spider-Man was in this universe. We had the Daily Bugle headlines. There was this murderer graffiti over top a picture of Spider-Man. And of course, we're led to believe that this murderer label is referring to Tom Holland because people think that he killed Mysterio. Murderer! Mysterio forever! But that Spider-Man graffiti scene is not in the movie. Now, there are a couple of Daily Bugle headlines that mention the Chameleon, the Rhino, and Black Cat, but these seem like just throwaway Easter eggs to placate fans and to get people like me to make a video. And what's even more baffling is that this entire ending was already spoiled by the director in a tweet thread on CinemaBlend's account. And he also confirmed that there is a Spider-Man in this universe. And in that same thread, he confirmed that this movie takes place in the same universe as Venom. And also, we do hear him say, Venom. So, the Venom-verse, which this movie takes place in, has always had a Spider-Man, which is why Venom says, until we've uncovered the web of lies. So, I mean, okay, maybe this all takes place in the Andrew-verse. I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a Michael Morbius Easter egg here, and this movie also mentions Rhino and Black Cat, who is Felicia Hardy, who is a character in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well, I mean, that all seems cool, I guess. Those are some neat Easter eggs. What's the problem?
The problem is they're Easter eggs that are there for the wrong reasons. So, okay, look at the MCU Easter eggs, like the map behind Fury and Iron Man 2. It marks Wakanda as a point of interest. This gives us, the fans, a feeling that we are part of a larger, more connected universe, and we'll get to see Wakanda in the future. And the map also makes sense in the scene. If you notice it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. The movie doesn't rely on it. But the Easter eggs in Morbius feel like some Sony fat cat was force-feeding fans a new comic book universe. And actually, we have exclusive hidden camera footage of a Sony executive discussing Spider-Man Morbius connections. Check this out.
Hello! They like Spider-Man, don't they? So put Spider-Man in it. Take that promo artwork from the first Spider-Man movie and make that into graffiti. Make up some Daily Bugle papers and we'll film those later as inserts. They will like that, won't they? Won't they like that? Keaton signed a multi-picture deal with us, so we need Vulture in the movie. So put Vulture in there.
But how will we put Vulture in the movie?
Do that Guy Cracks thing from that last movie. That movie made $1 billion. They like that movie, so use things from that movie so they'll watch this one. We're all going to be rich as hell. I'm going to use my Sinister Six cash to go to space.
So terrible. Something else, huh? So, I found these Easter eggs in that post-credits scene condescending, like the studio assumes that fans will watch anything with the name Marvel on it. So save your money. Don't send this cat to space. Anyways, that's just what I thought about Morbius. Let me know your questions and comments down below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe and smash that bell. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.